Hello, happy Wednesday. Welcome to boot camp. Today I have a nice circuit plan for us. So, if y'all did not know, today is International Women's Day. And if y'all don't already know, I love to do themed workouts. So, today for our workout, we're going to be spelling out woman in honor of all of us strong women out here. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna do a quick demo, show y'all what we got coming up, and then we're gonna do a warm up and we're gonna get right into the circuit. So for today, we don't need any equipment, just yourself and enough room to lay down on the ground. We're gonna do 3 rounds of our circuit. We're gonna do 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest slash transition time. So like I said, I'm gonna do a demo real quick and then we'll get right into it. So like I said, we are spelling out women today. So we're going to start off for our W. We're going to have a wide stance squat. So normally for a squat, we have our feet underneath our hips. So for this one, we're going to be a little bit wider. Toes are pointed out. And we're going to squat down. We're going to pulse 3 times and stand back up. So that's our first movement is a wide stance squat with 3 pulses at the bottom. After that, for our O, we're going to do plank knee to opposite elbow. So we're going to get down on the ground, hands and toes. We're going to exhale, bringing our knee across our body, touching it as close to the opposite elbow as we can. So that's going to be our second movement. And then we're going to stand back up. Going to be lots of up and down today. So for our next movement here for the M, we're going to do some marches. So for this, we're going to have opposite arm, opposite leg. We're driving our knee up. Sorry, the background is not so great here, but our knees are driving up 90-degree angles. We're marching in place, opposite knee and opposite arm. So that's going to be our M. And then for the E, we're going to do plank knee to elbow, but this time we're going to do the same side. So hands and toes again, coming up, coming to each elbow on the same side. You can always do a mountain climber there as well if you feel that's what you like to do. But the point of that one is working our core and our shoulders. Same with the other one as well. So after that, for the N, we're going to do a narrow stance squat. So we had wide in the beginning. This time we're going to do narrow. So our feet are almost going to be touching. For this one, to make it a little bit more challenging for us, we're going to add a tempo in here. So we're going to lower ourselves nice and slow down. 1, 2, 3. We're going to pause and stand back up. So from this angle here, looking the same as our regular squat, knees are coming forward, core is engaged. 3 seconds down and right back up. So that's going to be our circuit for women here. So we're going to go through that 3 times. And right after that, we're going to do some core work for 2 minutes to round out because normally we do a little bit longer of a circuit here. So we're going to do a little bit of core at the end. So we'll get to that point after the workout here. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our warm up. So we're going to start off. We're going to come up into a standing position in the top of our space. We've got enough space behind us to step back. We're going to interlace our fingers and we're going to grab onto one of our knees and we're going to pull our knee towards our chest. Nice big deep belly breath. And we're going to exhale, step back into a reverse lunge. Our back leg is going to stay nice and straight. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. So our pinky on our is right against our big toe. So my left hand pinky is right against my left hand big toe. This is going to help us open up our hips. And we're going to exhale. We're going to open up towards our front leg. Hand is towards the ceiling. Our thumb is facing our back. So we're looking at our palm here, looking towards the ceiling. We're opening up our spine here, getting some rotation. And we're going to exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot, bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into a nice hamstring stretch. You can even point your toe a little bit towards the ceiling to really open up your calf and your hamstring. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, step our feet together and push the ground away and stand on up. So that's going to be our first side. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Interlace our fingers, grabbing onto our opposite knee, pulling towards our chest. And we're going to exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Back leg stays nice and straight. Hands are coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg staying straight the whole time. This part really is going to help us open up our hips. We got lots of squats coming up, so we definitely need it. We're going to go ahead and take an inhale and exhale, opening up towards our front leg, hand towards the ceiling, thumb behind us, looking at our palm. Breathing into our belly, really feeling our hips expand. And we're going to go ahead, exhale, put our hand outside of our front foot, bring our back foot a little bit closer, and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. Breathing into those tight areas here. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. All right, next thing we're going to do, we want to come to the bottom of our space now. We're going to go ahead, push our hips back, bring our hands to the ground. We're going to walk ourselves out into a plank position. And from here, we're going to go ahead and push ourselves up into a pike or down dog position here. So we're going to start to pedal our heels into the ground. So let's go ahead, press our left heel into the ground. And exhaling, switching, pushing our right heel into the ground. We're going to switch again. We're going to do one more on each side. And switch again. We can go ahead, poke our head in between our hands. And we're going to come back down to a plank position. We're going to do a few plank to pikes here. So let's push ourselves back up to pike, back to plank. We're going to do two more coming up and back down. And last one coming up. And then we're going to go ahead and walk our hands back towards our feet. Get our arms and shoulders nice and warmed up for our planks here. And we're going to go ahead and slowly roll up into a standing position. And once we're nice and tall again, we are ready to rock and roll. So, like I said, we're going to do 3 rounds here, 45-15. We're starting in a standing position with our wide stance squat with 3 pulses at the bottom. So I'm going to get the timer going here. We got it. 3, 2, 1, and go. So, like I said, first one, our feet are a little bit wider than hip width. So we want them wider here. Toes pointed out a little bit at an angle. We're bringing our hips back, knees come forward. We're pulsing 3 times, driving through our heel, big toe, little toe. So I need to stop wearing black pants with this background. We want to make sure that our knees are going over our toes here, just like a regular squat. So everything stays the same. Our feet are just wider here. So we're going to feel that a little bit more in our inner thighs and in our glutes versus just feeling it in our quads and our glutes here. We got 3 pulses at the bottom. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have plank knee to opposite elbow. So we're going on the ground, hands and toes. 3, 2, 1. So screwing our hands into the ground is going to help us activate our upper back. Core is pulled in, and we're going to exhale, bringing our knee up. So we exhale as we come across. So this one, we're going from this knee to across our body. So we're pulling using our core. So we want to exhale, bring our core together as we drive our knee up. So we really want to make sure that we're using our core to pull our leg up versus feeling it in our hip flexor. It's really easy just to go back and forth and not feel anything in our core. We want to be intentional here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Standing on up. Next thing we got is our march. So we're standing up nice and tall here. 3, 2, 1. So again, exhaling, core is engaged. We have our knee in a 90-degree angle, our hip in a 90-degree angle, and we're just switching. So I say nice and light on our feet, opposite arm, opposite leg. We're just marching in place. We're staying nice and tall through our torso. Again, our core is engaged. This one we do want to use our hip flexors a little bit. We do also want our core engaged. So if you're a runner, this is a great way to practice your running mechanics. If you're not a runner, it's a great way to practice your running mechanics. I know at some point we're all going to have to run. I know I try and avoid it too. Don't worry. I really actually don't like running, and I know everyone always laughs at that because 3, 2, 1. Because yes, as a fitness professional, I also hate running. So next up, plank knee to same side elbow. So we're getting back in our same position. 3, 2, 1. So again, our hands are here. We're screwing our hands into the ground so our upper back is engaged onto our toes. Exhaling, one knee coming up at a time. Making sure, again, pulling our leg with our core. So we're exhaling, driving up. I always like to imagine like if we have a zipper in the middle of our six pack, we're zipping it up, bringing everything together. So that's how we imagine it. I always find this one, the same side, to be a little bit easier than the opposite side. 3, 2, 1. Because I have a love-hate relationship with the opposite side one. All right, next up we have narrow squats. And then we're going to do that same thing over 2 times through. 3, 2, 1. So our feet are a little bit closer than hip width. Squat is still the same. So our knees are still coming forward. Going nice and slow. Pausing and then coming back up. So that slow eccentric is going to help us create more tension throughout our muscles here. So we make it more challenging without any weight added there. If you do have weight you want to add it, feel free to grab a dumbbell, grab a water bottle, put a bunch of books in the backpack, whatever works for you. We're coming down nice and slow. Powering back up. 3, 2, 1. All right. Round 1 is done. Like I said, we got 2 more to go. So we're starting with our wide stance squats. We got a few seconds. So grab water if you need it. 3, 2, 1. We're going to face this way for a minute. So if you notice now that we've done the wide and the narrow, the way our body moves is exactly the same. So our hips come back as our knees come forward. This one, we are just pulsing at the bottom. We're still driving through our whole foot. So heel, big toe, little toe, like a tripod, driving through the floor. Oops, I started to do the eccentric one on that one. I mean, if you all want to do that too, that's all good with me. We're coming down as low as we can. Core is engaged. Our whole entire back should be nice and flat. So we're squeezing the orange between our shoulder blades. Our butt is tucked into our belly button. So our core is engaged. Coming down. 3, 2, 1. All right. Awesome job. Next up, plank knee to opposite elbow. So we're getting on the ground. 3, 2, 1. All right. Screwing our hands into the ground, onto our toes. Exhaling, coming across. This one is a great way. Again, we're working on our core, but also our shoulders. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, body weight is always going to be challenging. Our arms have a lot less muscle than the rest of our legs do. So it's a great way to really work on strengthening them with an isometric hold while we're strengthening our core. One always kills my shoulders, but we're doing awesome here. 3, 2, 1. Like I said, love-hate relationship with those. Next up, we have our marching. We're getting ready for that. 3, 2, 1. So again, opposite arm, opposite leg. We really want our feet to land in the same place. Like I said, this is a great way to practice running mechanics because when you do, right, when we're running is all about driving our knee up. So we're in that position. That's really what's going to help us work on that. Driving each knee like we have a plane of glass at our hips. We're going to break that glass as we drive our knee up. We're punching the ground away. I love working on marches for multiple things. definitely really good to practice that movement. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, plank D2, same side elbow. We're going to go ahead and do that. On the ground, hands and toes. 3, 2, 1. All right. So we're coming to the same side. Exhaling as we drive our knee up. Exhaling as we come to the same side. Exhaling. Again, core and shoulders here. Make sure we screw our hands into the ground too. I know I'm guilty of kind of hunching at my back. So I'm going to pull our shoulder blades. So squeeze our armpits. Coming across. Strong back is important for a lot of different movements, including this one. 3, 2, 1. All right. We're going to go ahead and do our narrow squats. And then we got one more round. And then we're going to do our core work at the end. So we're going to do some dead bugs. And I'll get to that when we get there. 3, 2, 1. All right. So we're nice and wide here. We got 3 pulses at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. Sorry. I skipped ahead already. We got narrow squats. We're not doing wide squats. These ones are going down, pausing, back up. I'm sorry. That's my bad. I got ahead of myself. So feet are closer than hip width, still the same form. Our knees are coming forward, driving, standing back up. We're pausing for 1 second at the bottom, coming back up. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right. Now we have wide side squats, and then this is our last round. So we're getting ready here. 3, 2, 1. We're coming down, pulsing 3 times, driving through our heel, big toe, little toe. So we got 1, 2, 3, and back up. It always helps if we exhale as we're driving through our heels to really help us engage our muscles. And that really goes for everything. When we can breathe through our movement, we're going to have better results. Things are going to feel a little bit better. We can also push a little harder, meaning give more effort. 3, 2, 1. All right, done with those for the day. Check it off the list. We got plank knee to opposite side elbow. Coming up next, we're going to be on the ground here. 3, 2, 1. So we're coming across, exhaling, making sure our hands are screwed into the ground here. And we're coming across. I'm thinking for tomorrow, I'm going to keep the same thing of our Women's Day because we need more than just one day. But it is also actually the whole month is dedicated to us females. We're super strong. So we get a whole month here. So definitely have another theme for us tomorrow of women with different movements. Maybe we'll do a Wonder Woman workout tomorrow instead. 3, 2, 1. All right, done with those for the day. We're gonna march. Then we got more planks and then our narrow squats. And I'm gonna go through our core movements while we are squatting. So we're on to marches here. 3, 2, 1. Well, I guess I can go over it while we're doing this too. So we're marching away before core work. So how it's gonna work? We're gonna finish this. We're gonna do our planks and we got our narrow squats. So right after that, we're gonna have 15 seconds. We're gonna get on the ground. We're gonna do 1 full minute of dead bugs. We're gonna do 1 full minute of single leg lowering, and then we're gonna cool down. So we're gonna get 2 minutes straight of core work at the end of this. And then we're gonna stay on our backs on the ground for our cool down. So we got 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got 2 more movements here coming up, and then we're gonna be on the ground for the rest of the workout. So we're doing plank, knee to elbow. Going across, not across. 3, 2, 1. So screwing those hands in, core is engaged. We're zipping our core up, coming to the same side on each side. Like we're zipping our core up. So we're not going to get enough core work today. You know, I threw some at the end. But no, this is a little bit different because we're working more than just our core here. We're actually working more of our pillar, which is our shoulders, hips, and our torso. When our pillar is strong, then all of our movements on top of that are going to be stronger because that is our basis of every movement is the shoulders, hips, and torso. 3, 2, 1. So that's why we do more than just crunches. You will know I will never have just crunches in any of my classes if you haven't seen that yet. All right, we got narrow squats here. 3, 2, 1. I'm a firm believer in multifaceted movements. So we're always going to be doing things that are foundational, even narrow squats. We're going to feel more of that focus in our quads, but we're still using our core. We're using our glutes, our hamstrings. We're focusing on pushing our feet through the ground. So it is more than just like a leg extension or, you know, isolated movement because life is not lived in one plane of motion. We're really not ever going to use just our quads in anything in real life. So that's why I like to do things that will help us be stronger outside of the gym because life is not lived in these 4 walls. 3, 2, 1. All right. We're done with that part of the circuit. So we're going to go ahead and make our way onto the ground on our backs. Like I said, we have dead bugs for 1 full minute on the ground here. 3, 2, 1. So knees are directly above our hips, hands in the air. We're extending out. Exhale back in. So we have opposite arm, opposite leg, exhaling back in. If you are not feeling that in your core, go ahead. You can just hold here at the bottom. So keeping those knees above our hips, they're not coming in, they're staying directly out. Breathing through our straw, bringing our core and our 6-pack together. If you're starting to feel more comfortable, you can start with just your legs, and then you can incorporate the arms. I know this one, half the battle is the coordination of the arm and the leg. So if the arms are distracting, just use the legs. If you're feeling it in your hip flexors, loosen your feet. You want to be nice and loose here. Core is engaged. Bringing everything together as we inhale in. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and bring our feet all the way to the ceiling, still laying on our back. We're going to lower one leg, exhale, come back up. So for this one, really important, making sure that our legs are, again, nice and loose. When they're straight and flexed, I find it's really easy to start to use the hip flexors instead of our core. So also, with this one, really important, if you're starting to feel your low back come off the ground, you're done with the movement. So if you lower down this far and your low back is off the ground, go ahead and come back up. So only going as low as you can while keeping your form and being able to use your core. Exhaling, zipping it up, using our core to bring our leg back in. Really working on our pillar once again, just not our shoulders as much, but definitely our torso as a whole, our low back, and our 6-pack relief. Got a few more seconds here. Finish strong. 3, 2, 1. And that is going to be it for today's circuit. So go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. And we're going to go ahead and stay on the ground for our cool down. So we're going to do a quick stretch here. So we did a lot of leg things here today. So we're going to go ahead and stretch out our hips and also our low back, which will help if you've been sitting at the desk all day. So Laying on the ground, feet are flat on the ground. We're gonna take one ankle, we're gonna cross it over the opposite knee. If that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. If you need a little bit of extra tension, go ahead, interlace your fingers, grab either in the middle of your hamstring or in front of your shin, and we're gonna pull our knee towards our chest. So we're gonna do a few deep breaths here, in through our nose, into our bellies, and exhaling, sighing away the tension. Slowing our breath down by making our exhales longer than our inhales is really going to help us get into our rest and digest and really help our bodies relax and our minds relax before getting back to the workday. We also set our bodies up to eat lunch for digestion and all of that. We don't want to eat when we're stressed because that can cause a delay in digestion and absorption of nutrients. We're going to go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can gently bring our feet back to the ground. And after that, when we're ready, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to take our opposite ankle, crossing it over our knee. If that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. Or you can go ahead and interlace your fingers, grabbing either in the middle of your hamstring or in front of your shin and pulling your knee towards your chest. We should feel the stretch right underneath our glute of the knee that is bent. And it's going to help us really release some tension in our piriformis, which is a tiny muscle right underneath our glutes. And when that gets tight, it can pull on our hamstrings, our low back, our glutes, create a lot of tension in our backside there. This will help just alleviate any tightness we feel there today just from sitting, or again, we did a lot of leg things today. So this will help us just really open up our hips, open up our back. We're going to go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can go ahead and bring our feet to the ground. And feel free to stay laying on the ground if you'd like, or you can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. But that is going to be all the time we have for today's boot camp. So thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully we got a good workout out of that. Also, that we feel a little bit more relaxed after our cool down. We do have class again tomorrow at the same time, exercise with Exos. But we will not have class on Friday. I cannot find a sub, and I will be at the basketball tournament all day. So no class Friday at 12, but we do have class tomorrow. So hopefully I'll see you there. And if not, hopefully I'll see you again next week. We got more stretch breaks. We are also going to be in person again next week. So hopefully I'll see you in a class or in the fitness centers next week. But I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon.